These are my 5 most beautiful locations to build a base in Subnautica below zero. Some of them will take your breath away in awe, while some will make you shiver in fear, but one thing is certain, none of them will leave you uninterested. So let's dive right in. First location is Twisty Bridges, next to the Altera crane platform, as you can see here on the map. Now, the Twisty Bridges is a beautiful oboe starter biome, and it connects the shallow Twisty Bridges to the thermal spires leading to an island, and has connection to the deep Twisty Bridges for more advanced resources like lithium, gelsex and diamonds, so it's very well positioned. It is made of a deep trench of fully interconnected Twisty Bridges and various plateaux, making it eye-appealing. So why do I find this location beautiful? And it's encompassing biome, building for shallow to deep, allowing for amazing verticality, and that's something that you should really use when building your base. There are stunning views on every level, from shallow, going through the middle, all the way to the depths. And if anywhere you look, the view is amazing. But in my opinion, the best view is from below, especially if you take a big room and take a glass ceiling, like shown here. The location we picked borderlines several biomes in close proximity, thermal spires and deep Twisty Bridges. Also, fragments-wise, there are sea truck cabin and mobile vehicle bay fragments, which are great to get you going, as well as there are resources to build them. Now, the potential cons for not building the base would be, given that there are no large open spaces, you need to go around the environment, which can make building really difficult. Building can actually clip into objects and it can get tricky. Now, for me, putting a sea truck dock was really a nightmare because I was trying to do it in the deeps. And also the orientation, finding your way around can be difficult unless you are on the top looking downwards. That makes it a lot easier. So let me share you my couple of base building tips. First would be go vertical. Second would be get in close to the plateaus. So if you go vertical, since the biome is not really spread out, there are no large open spaces, the verticality is actually your friend. When it comes to getting close to the plateaus, you will get a feeling that you're actually somewhere there. So putting an observatory next to the plateau, that would be an amazing example, because then you really get a sense to appreciate the scale. Second advice would be make the big room with glass roof deep, because then you get a chance to actually see around, and also when you're looking up the dome, you will get a nice chance to enjoy all the twists of the Twisty Bridges, which is one of the main benefits of the biome. My final tip, honestly, you will thank me a lot for this: make your sea truck dock shallow. Keep it in the shallow waters, because once you go deep, it's gonna be really tricky. Alright, so the next biome where we will be building is actually the Glacial Basin. The location is provided in the comments below, and that would be next to the Fire Robotics Center. Well, this area is a large empty basin close to some important story content, and the second largest outdoor section of the map after the Arctic Spires. Now, why do I find that location interesting and beautiful is that it's large, mostly flat surface area to build, surrounded by glaciers for a dramatic backdrop. There is lots of debris, and presence of some Altera structures makes when you build the base look organic, and it looks like it really fits there. And also, for a change, it feels good to build above ground. I mean, most of the things we are building below water, which is kind of nice and fun, but also this gives you a different perspective, so that's one of the things which I really like, to have, diversity. Another benefits from it is that it's close to the docks. In case you need to access your sea truck, you have forgotten some fish or whatnot, or material, so it's really close to the docks. Second is proximity to Altera facility for story content, which is kind of important. And last but not least, it's really important because in the caves leading between the dock and the Glacial Basin, there are food plants, namely fevered pepper, nearby, which can be picked up and planted in your base, and that happens in the interior grow beds, so those are not to be grown outside like in any, in the seaside and whatnot. There are lots of snow fox fragments, the great hover bike designed for traversal, and need I say, it looks cool. Now, potential cons, well, there are not many, but the one that I could find, it's actually hard to get fish. You have to schlep it all the way from the sea truck, so if you're like me, building a large alien containment everywhere you go, in every base, well, then you will have to do a couple of schleps back and forth. Okay, so let's go some base building tips for this biome. You might want still to use a little bit of verticality to connect various plateaus, making it look organically, so that basically different levels of the base coincide with the levels of the area around you. If you build your large room slightly elevated, but not too high, for example, as I have built it here, you still get the benefit of the glass roof and you get the glaciers in the view, but you also, by building an observatory next to it, you get a chance to enjoy the area and have a beautiful view over the surrounding basin. You might even want to build a cafe and have yourself a sip of coffee while you enjoy your hard day's work. Building a Snow Fox hover pad, well, obviously you're gonna build it, you will need it, and it looks dang cool. Let's go into the next biome. So coming into the purple vents. The purple vents is one of the 3 thermal biomes that the player can visit, and to me it kind of reminds me of the grassy plateau a little bit in the original Subnautica. Now, mainly in terms of look and the availability of open spaces. So, it is actually rich with lithium and salts, and you can even find the water filtration machine there if you look really, really hard. So why do I find purple vents beautiful? It's a large, mostly flat area with surface to build, and purple and yellow combo provides a very nice backdrop with vents providing some extra interest. It is close to some wrecks, including the debris field with lots of fragments for the sea truck, namely, fabricator modules, aquarium sleeper modules, etc. And as said, there are large supplies of lithium and salt, and it's close to the crystal cave if you need it for advanced building materials like ribbon plant, kyanite, ruby, uraninite, and whatnot. Then let's talk about the potential cons why you would not want to build a base there. If you build by not taking into account the vents, the yellow and the purple sprouting out, well, then the view from the base can be dull. And we're gonna alleviate it with some base building tips coming after it. But the most important con of all for this one is that here you have the chalicerate. I'm probably butchering it, trust me, I have been practicing it many times, but chalicerate is the worst of all leviathans. It is that red shrimpy thing that can make your butt cheeks clench so hard they can turn a lump of coal into a diamond into no time. Personally, I find it the scariest leviathan in the game, and yeah, I just hate the damn thing. Now, let's talk some base building tips if you want to build in the purple vents. My advice would be build horizontally to really utilize the area given in the plateau. Second would be use of lots of glass corridors, because it's not really that deep, you don't need to reinforce it that much, but they will be providing some stunning views wherever you go. I would also say place large room low enough with a glass roof and a lot of glass around, so you really get a chance to appreciate the purple vents sprouting above you, and the glass roof just might give you that glimpse of chalicerate. Yes, I know, I've been practicing that word. Right, so those were the building tips for the purple vents. Now let's get into the new biome. If you go from the purple vents, go deep down, dark down, you will get into the crystal cave. And the crystal cave is a large rocky cave system dominated by large purple crystals mainly protruding from the cave ceiling and floor. 2 shadow leviathans patrol the cave, increasing the threat level of the area, and the floor of the biome possesses a network of trenches and deep fissures containing valuable large resource deposits such as kyanite and gold. Now, why do I find this beautiful? Firstly, the purple crystals protruding make area look completely alien. This biome is unlike anything you have ever seen, and as a plus side, it's both up and the downside. Shadow leviathans emerge out of nowhere. You hear a shriek and then they show up and start playing, giving you a mini heart attack. Now, there are large deposits of kyanite gold and other advanced resources, and story-wise, this area I don't find that interesting, but if you want to build with advanced stuff, it's necessary because there are lots of material stored there. Now, there are potential cons, so this base is not for the faint-hearted. And mainly its shadow leviathans are scary as they are mesmerizing. Make no mistake, Chalicerate is still my #1 enemy, which I hate with all of my guts. Shadow leviathans I have a respect for. Now, when that big thing swims over your office when you're just doing something, you get a mini heart attack, seriously. And another potential con is that it can get a little bit difficult to build. Placing your base in a good location can lead you to base bumping over crystals, and then you might need to redo and whatnot. So it can get a little bit taxing at times, but I think it's well worth the effort. Now, talking about some base building tips for the Crystal Cave, I would say put the large room just above the trench and low, so especially when I built in this location, it was allowing the shadow leviathans to pass overhead. So you could really, observe these majestic creatures and build it sort of like Shadow Leviathan Observatory or something. Also make sure that you put a glass dome to enjoy the view, but put many reinforcements. You might need them and get the Shadow Leviathans get frisky. Observatory, needless to say, it's mandatory here, because that gives you a really chance to appreciate and enjoy and soak up the ambience of the area. And be very careful with the sea dock or sea truck dock or the moon pool, because it can happen that it will become a nibbling point for the Shadow Leviathan. On the next biome, it's actually the Lily Pad Islands. It's an area located in the south of the map, as you can see in the map below, and it is actually a series of trenches formed by lily pads tearing the ground off the seafloor and rising it to the surface. Now, why do I find that area really beautiful? There are many small islands floating, connected by the roots to give this area sort of, an apocalyptic vibe, which is further accentuated by the green watercolor. Building just below some of the roots and landmass with a glass dome above you sets you up for dramatic views, as sometimes glow whales, which are the Subnautica below zero equivalent of our favorite reefies that we all know and love, can come and visit you there. Seeing these majestic creatures is really a sight to behold and worth spending hour after hour of building the base there. Trust me, I've tried. Then, when it comes to some additional benefits, is that there is a proximity to some of the larger wrecks. I think that the ship named Mercury is close there, and there's also proximity to Margaret Maida's base, which is important for the story. I'm not gonna reveal any spoilers, but I mean, if you haven't seen Margaret Maida, it's even in the trailer. Now, the potential cons are squid sharks patrol the area. Those with their tentacles, they are a little bit scary. I mean, they're not really as scary as much as the others, but they are still scary. Also, thick water can make the surrounding area look dull. However, if you build smart, you can alleviate this issue. So, some of my base building tips would be build close to the series of roots for dramatic impact, as we said, so you really want to get this, apocalyptic vibe beside you, if that's your shtick. Good lighting is essential here, as there is not much light protruding apart from the green glow during the day, but during the night it can get really murky, so it's a good thing if you place a couple of well-placed reflectors. And finally, I would say ability to entangle with the environment, pretty much like Twisty Bridges. If you can integrate yourself with the environment, you will get some awesome views, so you will really appreciate the location. Now guys, I'm actually curious. I would really like to hear what are your top 5 places, so I would appreciate if you let me know in the comments below. I will of course review them and reply, and who knows, maybe I make a follow-up video. If you would like to know what are my 5 most beautiful locations to build a base in the original Subnautica, then do check out the link in the top right corner that will be presented by my avatar, and I will see you there. Thank you very much for watching.